Magyanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Malatam Yaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I respect all my obeisances unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Joy. So, just to recap on the last couple of sessions, we've been hearing from Arjuna in texts 1 and 2. This is the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Texts 1 and 2 we've just gone through. We're on to 3 today, so attaining the Supreme. So in 1 and 2, these are Arjuna's questions to Krishna. And we were saying about how this is the nature of a real devotee. They're really inquisitive to hear about spiritual topics. If we're not inquisitive if we don't have questions, that's a bad sign. It means there's not much going on inside here, you know. It's an empty head. Like Prabhupada said sometimes, you've got cow dung in between your ears. The head is full of cow dung. That was if someone was particularly stupid, then he would say, you've got cow dung between your ears. You know, not much brain matter. No, but it's someone that should be, you know, naturally inquisitive and have questions. This is like normal for a devotee. But even for a human being, this is the real purpose of having a human body, that we should be inquisitive about spiritual topics.
Look at that, all the human inventions happens from there. Like, you know, if the human will be satisfied what they got, then there won't be invention of electricity or car or anything. Always having the questions there.
Yeah.
How do we can get better? But it's in mind. I guess it's just like, you know, everybody asks a question and so that's a problem. Actually, what you've brought up is actually a problem, because that tendency to ask questions was meant for the purpose of us to hear about spiritual subject matters, but instead of that, we've diverted those questions and inquisitive nature to material topics. So, you know, we're so excited about thousands of material topics, but if it's a spiritual topic, no one's interested. So that's what we face, especially in Kali Yuga, that if someone's talking about the sports or about the stock market or about how to make more money or about some beautiful girl or something, then everyone's going to be interested in that. But if you say, okay, now we're going to read from Bhagavad Gita, well, you know, there's 2 people in the audience, you know, so just us 2, you know. So that's the thing, you know. If it was some rugby, you know, subject or whatever, then you've got 100,000 people will go, or, you know, like holy, you know, oh, let's throw some paint around, have a bit of fun and everything, there'll be 1,000 people. But if it's, oh, come and let's do some, you know, read Bhagavad Gita, then, you know, 2 people will come, you know. So people are...
In terms of your comment about asking questions.
Yeah, Jayanti's got a question. Good.
You know,
yes,
Prabhupada Leelamrita, Prabhupada said that he was just listening. He was just hearing from his Guru Maharaj. He was not asking any questions.
His Guru commented he likes to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was mainly just hearing.
Yeah.
And he hardly asked any questions as well. But he was always there to hear. So, I mean, it's not necessary that somebody has to always ask questions, is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah.
Ultimately, in his case, he then asked only one question: how shall I serve?
But in the modern day society, neither people ask questions about spiritual things, and neither they want to hear about it.
That's the thing. They don't want to hear it.
They don't want to hear. They're not in the audience, so how they can hear if they don't even come? You know, they're not any interest even to come and hear, let alone to then ask questions.
But whatever the human inventions are, we got to benefit out of that as well. Now we're having a class online on the Skype because of the human invention.
Sure.
And I can,
so those things can be used in Krishna's service. Yeah.
I can read the Radhanath Maharaj's book as that, and then audioable as well, because the human inventions there. And then you on the Kindle, it's got some benefit, but didn't invention for our benefit, but our benefit.
Yeah, but I mean, who is getting the benefit from all those things? It's the devotees, but the non-devotees are wasting their whole life with these things.
Oh, yeah,
and they're not using it for spiritual advancement. It's only the devotees that are using those things for spiritual advancement. You know, the non-devotee is using the phone for sense gratification. And the devotee is using the phone for service.
You know, if Skype will be a business meetings.
Yeah, so they'll just be talking about mundane things. They're not going to be talking about, you know, what's the soul and what's God. They're just going to be talking about how to make more money and everything. But only the devotees are using it for some spiritual benefit. So, yeah, we're making, like they say, you know, there's a saying, make the best out of a bad bargain. Make the best out of a bad bargain. You know, so all these material things are like a bad bargain, but the devotees are making the best out of it. Why is it a bad bargain? Because everything in the material world, as you know, is temporary and it leads to suffering. So, I mean, we say, I mean, it's very good and everything, but actually, if you do this for too long, all the radiation is going to give you cancer in your head, you know, so it can be a bad bargain. And we have to be very careful with these things, you know, how we use it in Christian service, because it can be bad for the health or whatever like that. So,
but do we have a Bhagavad Gita audible in maybe someone's sound, like I don't know whose sound is that? Like,
I don't know, but I mean, I browsing in the internet, I've seen there's audios for Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. You know, there's audios for so many Vedic texts. You know, Mahabharata, Ramayana. There'll be audios for all of them.
It's really good tool for devotee. You know, whoever invent the internet, it's one thing for us. Then we can listen to that, and I recommend.
I mean, I've got one app on here which is called the Gita Base. Okay. It's called the Gita Base, and that's got pretty much everything Prabhupada has said on it. All his lectures, all the morning walks, all the conversations, all the festivals, everything. And then, you know, it's got kirtans and bhajans and everything. So everything Prabhupada said pretty much is there. You can read it. It's amazing. And if you can type in, you can search some particular words, and it'll pop up with all the times that Prabhupada spoke about that subject. So yes, definitely, I'm not saying there's nothing of value there. Jayanti, can you please charge that when you're ready? But yeah, the point is, if you get so engrossed in all the material things that you forget your real purpose in life, which is Krishna consciousness, then that's a great loss. You know, if you use those things in Krishna service, that's brilliant. That's called yukta vairagya, real renunciation. But if you get so lost in the technology and everything, and you forget about your real purpose, which is finding out who am I and why am I here and why am I suffering and what's the purpose of life and who is God and all these kind of things, then that's a great loss. Actually, I need that, Jayanti. Sorry, I got to take that thing off it. Let me read it first. I just want to read something from the phone, actually.
Okay.
Jayanti shared it on Soul Searching, but I'll read it again because it's very relevant to what we're talking about now, which is how a devotee has got really good questions. So this is one 12-year-old girl, I think she is, and she is born in a family of devotees, so very fortunate soul to be born in a family of devotees. So from birth she's been Krishna conscious. So this is in relation to, she wrote a letter after Prana died, right? You know about Prana, right? He died recently, the devotee that died recently, Prana. He died of cancer in Vrindavan. So heaps of people were writing in glorification of Prana and so forth. So this one 12-year-old girl, she also wrote something. I won't read out the whole letter, it's quite long, but I'll just read out the part of her letter which deals with her questions to Prana. Okay. I wonder, was the chariot that carried you up to the spiritual realm very beautiful? What an amazing question.
Yeah.
You know, because it's said in the scriptures that when a devotee dies, the Lord sends his servants, the Vishnu Dutas, to come on a vimana. You know what a vimana is? Like a spiritual plane, on a spiritual plane, which is like a chariot that goes in the air. So it's like a chariot that goes through the air, a vimana. So and the Vishnu Dutas come and pick up the devotee and take him back to Godhead. You know, and that happened like with Dhruva. So the story of Dhruva is there. He was taken in a vimana back to Godhead by the Vishnu Dutas. It happened with Ajamila. He was taken in a plane. It happened more recently with Tukaram. So Tukaram was picked up by a vimana. Like, you know, Tukaram. Panduranga Hari, Vitala, 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 Vitala. Famous bhajans he was singing. Okay, so she's asking that. You know, asking detailed question about what was the vimana like? What was the chariot like? Was it how beautiful it was and everything like that? And then she's more about the chariot. Was it super big? She wanted to know how big was the chariot. Was it fun to ride it? Because she's 12-year-old girl, remember? But you know, so girls are, you know, boys and girls are thinking about, you know, driving and something, but she's asking about a spiritual chariot, how big it was it fun to go in it? That's amazing.
There you go.
Could you see the whole world spread out below? She's asking, when you went going up in the sky to go back to Godhead, did you look back, and how big was the earth? Did the world look very big below you? I mean, what kind of brain is that? That's incredible. Who asked these questions? Was the view fantastic? You're not scared of heights, are you? You're not scared of heights, are you? And then she says, I wonder what your spiritual body is like. Is it perhaps very light? Not at all heavy and burdensome? Are you traveling with any other passengers? What is your destination? Is it one of the Vaikuntha planets where you shall joyfully worship the Lord in the form of Nrsimhadev, who you departed this world with? So Prana had a Nrsimhadev deity with him in the room, obviously.
No, he was holding a picture.
Oh, he was holding up, Jayanti said he was holding a picture of Nrsimhadev when he left. So she's asking him, have you gone to the planet where you worship Nrsimhadev, whom you departed this world with? Or maybe you're going to Goloka Vrindavan to closely associate with Krishna. So that's the question. Perhaps frolic means dance. In the enchanting waters, means play. So it means play. Perhaps frolic in the enchanting waters with Krishna as a gopa, cowherd boy. Or sneak sidelong glances at him as a manjari, means an unmarried cowherd girl. So she's asking him, like, did you become a cowherd boy, or did you become a cowherd girl, and all this kind of stuff? Or constantly worrying about Krishna as a parent? Or did you become one of Krishna's parents in the spiritual world? Or eager to serve him as a servant? So these are different rasas. She's asking Prana, what kind of rasa, you know, eternal form did you get in the spiritual world? Or maybe satisfied with the dust of Krishna's lotus feet and beautiful footprints as part of the nature in Vrindavan. So even there's devotees in the spiritual world that are living there as like the grass. And that's their pleasure, is that Krishna will come and stand on me and leave the dust of his feet on me as grass. So wherever you are, whatever you are doing, I know that you are happy. Not only not happy, but blissful, truly blissful. And your happiness is our happiness. Your presence and influence in this world will always be cherished and remembered. You will forever remain in our hearts. Your aspiring servant with much love, Nandini Banerjee. So that's just amazing. That her consciousness at 12 years old, how much questions She had very intelligent questions, all related to the spiritual world and everything. It's just incredible, good example for us. And that's the way human beings supposed to be like. And it's just I found that very inspiring. Very inspiring. Such a great example, yeah. Incredible. Okay, so let's read text 3.
Yeah.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Aksharam Brahma Paramam.
Aksharam Brahma Paramam.
Swabhavod Yat Mam Uchate.
Swabhavodhyatmam Uchate.
See that one, the D for the second word, the D you join on to the first word. So you go Swabhavodyatmam Uchate.
Swabhavodhyatmam Uchate.
Bhutabhavodbhavakaro.
Bhuta Bhavodbhavakaro.
Visarga Karma Samgita.
Visarga Karma Sangita. Very nice. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman. And his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Action pertaining to the development of material bodies of the living entity is called karma, or fruitive activity.
Yes, so now Krishna is speaking. So we've heard 2 verses of Arjuna's questions. Now Krishna is starting to answer those questions. So he's answered 3 of the questions here. So Arjuna's first question is, what is Brahman? So that is the living entity. The living entity is Brahman. The living entity is Brahman. Also, we hear that God has 3 features. Do you know what the 3 features or 3 aspects of God are? What are the 3 different? When we talk about God, what are we talking about? There's actually not just one subject. It's 3 subjects or
Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh.
No, that's something different. That's something different. That's something different. That's called the guna avatars. That's the guna avatars. So the controllers of the modes of material nature. So Brahma is the controller of the mode of passion. Mahesh or Shiva is the controller of the mode of ignorance, and Vishnu is the controller of the mode of goodness. But this is something different. I'm saying that God has 3 different aspects, and Jayanti just said it. It's Brahman and Paramatma and Bhagavan. Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So there's the all-pervading energy, Brahman, and then there's the Paramatma, that's God is present in the heart of every living thing, even the atom. And then there's the Supreme Person who lives in the spiritual world, and sometimes he comes here to the material world to do his pastimes, Krishna. So we've got that one aspect of God as Brahman, and also here it said the living entities of Brahman. So how can it be that the spiritual energy is Brahman, and the spiritual light is Brahman, and that the living entities are also Brahman? And that's because they're both the same thing. So what is the Brahman made of? What is that spiritual light that radiates from Krishna's body? What is that made of? It's made up of living entities. It's made up of living entities, you know. So, and you know about the Mayavadis, the impersonalists, if they perfect their process and get liberated from the material world, where do they go? It's said that they merge into that spiritual light, into that Brahman. So the soul goes back into that light. So yeah, the spiritual light, it's called the Brahma Jyoti. So that spiritual light is made up of souls, Brahman. So that is the living entity. We are a spirit soul, and it's mentioned here, Aksharam means indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. So there's no death for the soul. No death. We can look at the second chapter, text 20. There's many verses in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita explaining that point, that the soul is eternal and indestructible, and it says can't be burnt by fire, can't be drowned in the water, can't be cut by weapons. So here's one particular verse.
For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and he will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primal. He is not slain when the body is slain.
So there you go.
It's like it's a soul is like a 1,000 time of the here, is it?
1/10,000th.
10,000 times.
10,000th, yeah. So very tiny. But even though we're very small, but we're very strong. Can't be annihilated, can't be destroyed. And the next verse, 21, you can read that. And that actually mentions indestructible.
O Partha, how can a person who knows the soul is indestructible? I can't spell this word.
Indestructible. Indestructible.
Eternal, unborn, and immutable. Kill anyone or cause anyone to kill. Yes.
Yeah. So that is conclusively answered in this second chapter, so many verses, that the soul cannot be destroyed. It cannot be killed. The body is going to be killed. That's 100% guaranteed. But the soul inside the body cannot be killed because the soul is Brahman. So the nature of the Brahman soul is that it cannot be destroyed. It's eternal. It has no beginning and no end. Like that. So we are eternally part of Krishna.
So we're part of the Krishna, but the Brahman is a Krishna's creation. Whatever you can see the mountain or whatever the trees and all that, they can be destroyed, like tree can be cut and mountain can be, but and then back to the source again. But the soul, it doesn't, untouchable.
Correct. Yeah. So the matter is always getting transformed, always getting changed. But even the material elements themselves are never destroyed. Does that make sense? So this body, what is it made of? Earth, right? And water. So when the body dies, these elements, they just go back to where they came from. It means the earth in the body goes back to the earth. The water in the body goes back to the water. The fire in the body goes back to the fire. The air in the body goes back into the air. So even the elements themselves are never destroyed. They're just transformed. Now the earth is in a brick. And next the earth will be in the ground. And then next the earth will be in the body of Jayanti. And then next the earth will be back in the ground. And then the earth will be in a tree. And then, you know what I'm saying? So those elements themselves are also everlasting. Just they're transforming their shape. Like you have from earth, then you turn into a pot. And then when the pot is broken, it's back to the earth. Well, that's traditional in India, right? They eat with their banana leaf in their clay cup. And after eating, they throw it out the back door. And then it goes back into the earth. And then that will grow into another banana tree. and then, you know, you'll use it as a plate, and then it goes back to the earth, back into a banana tree, you know, and turn the earth into a clay cup, and then back to the earth, and, you know, so the elements are always there too.
So there is a soul in the trees as well?
Correct. Anything that's living, there's a soul there.
But even stones have.
Yeah, so then if you want to go even in more depth of study, then, and then Prabhupada also spoke about it on one or two occasions. I mean, generally we say there's a soul within every living thing, right? And that's why it's alive. That's why it grows and moves and everything like that, is because there's a soul there. But on one or two occasions, Prabhupada said that within all matter, the soul is there, not just the animals and the plants and the birds and the fish, but there's even a soul within the table. Not just one soul, but I mean, the table is made up of souls, and the chair and the floor and the house and the roof and your car and your phone, and the basis of everything is Brahman. And remember, what's Brahman? Brahman is souls. You know, there's nothing that's separate from the Brahman, from the Brahmajyoti that we were saying about the spiritual light that radiates from Krishna's body. It's said that the material world is just the Brahmajyoti covered by Maya. It said the whole spiritual sky, which is Brahmajyoti, it said 1/4 of that is covered by like a cloud of Maya. So 1/4 of imagine a huge spiritual sky, and 1/4 of that is covered by a cloud of Maya. But that's still the spiritual sky, but just covered by a cloud of Maya. And but that's all. It's all Brahman. It's all made up of souls. But it's just like there's an illusory covering over that, and we can't perceive. We can't perceive because we're covered by this cloud of Maya. We can't perceive that they're spirit souls. But one that's fully enlightened can actually see that there's souls everywhere. Sees the souls everywhere. And yeah, that's pretty profound. That's mind-blowing. We can't conceive of that. That's inconceivable how many souls there are. Sometimes when I start to think about that too much, it just blows my mind and I stop thinking about it. When you think about how many souls there are. Like, you know, every clump of grass, there's a soul, or a forest, right? All like in New Zealand, it's full of forests.
Every blade of grass, not every clump of grass.
No, well, I mean, the plant is not just one piece of grass; it's a whole clump. So, but even that, I mean, even I'm looking out my window, I'm seeing like millions and millions of clumps of grass just from what I can see out my window.
Some under the ground which you can't see.
Yeah, I know. I mean, scientists say if you look in the you know, microscope, even in the earth, there's like millions of little bugs and bacterias and funguses and viruses and everything, and they're all living things. They're all souls. Just in a square centimeter of earth, there's like millions of living things there. So, or in the water and stuff like that. It's just mind-boggling how many souls there are. It's just unlimited. And all of them are indestructible.
Yes, all managed by one person, which is Krishna.
Yeah. So how great Krishna is, that's incredible.
God, you can imagine.
There's one story about a brahmana and a cobbler, like intelligent Brahmin and a cobbler. Cobbler means like fixing shoes.
Yeah, mochi.
Like Sudra. What's that? Mochi. Yeah, mochi. Yeah. So Narada Muni had come to the material world and met the Brahmana. And the Brahmana asked, oh, Naradaji, if you see Narayan, ask him when I will get liberated. And then he met the cobbler. And the cobbler said, "Oh, Naradaji, oh, you must be going to see Lord Narayan. When you go there, can you ask him when I'll get liberated?" So then Naradaji went to Vaikuntha and see Lord Narayan. And he said, "Oh, I met this Brahmana, I met this cobbler, and they were asking when they will be liberated. So when will that be?" And he said, "You tell the Brahmin that he has many, many births and more. And you tell the cobbler this is his last birth, the Muchi. This is your last birth." And Narada was confused. "What do you mean? A Brahmin has many births more, and the Muchi has only last one?" And then he said, "Well, you ask them. When you see them, they'll ask you, so what is my Lord Narayan doing in Vaikuntha? And you tell them when they ask you, what am I doing? Tell them I'm putting one elephant through an eye of a needle. I'm putting an elephant through the eye of the needle." Yeah. So he went back to the material world, and the Brahmin saw, "Oh, Naradaji, oh, you must have come from Lord Narayan. What was he doing there?" And he said, "Oh, he was putting elephant through the eye of a needle." He said, "Oh, come on, that's ridiculous. That's not true." So he didn't believe it. He had no faith. And then Narada went to the cobbler, and he said, "Oh, Naradaji, what was Lord Narayan doing in Vaikuntha?" "Oh, he was putting elephant through the eye of a needle." And the cobbler said, "Oh, just see how wonderful was my Lord. He had faith that, yes, he didn't have any doubts. He didn't have any doubt that he was doing that." And Narada questioned him, "How come you were believing this?" And the cobbler said, "Even around me, I see so many inconceivable things." Yeah. Like, for example, he said this huge banyan tree, banyan tree, Ashvata. This huge banyan tree is producing one tiny seed. It's one very tiny seed. And inside this tiny seed, the whole banyan tree is inside that seed. Yeah, that's right. Not only the whole banyan tree is inside the seed, but within that seed is the thousands of seeds. Yeah. Because that tree will produce thousands of seeds, right? Or millions of seeds. So all that information to produce a tree with thousands of seeds is inside that seed. Yeah. So that's just so mind-blowing. So he said, if even in the material world there is such inconceivable mystical powers, even in the material world, what to speak of what the source of all these things, Narayan, can do. Mm-hmm. So it's easy for him. Putting an elephant through a needle is easy for him. Yeah. Even he just putting the whole tree inside the seed, is so easy. He's doing these things. So like that, that How did we get onto that? I'm just thinking why I gave that story. It was connected. It was
Brahman.
Yeah, we're talking about Brahman.
And then all the like how many souls in there,
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It just blows our mind. That's how many souls are there and everything. But that's the Lord. His unlimited powers he has, you know, potencies, energies, mystical powers, everything is completely mind-blowing, just blowing the mind. So it's not possible for us, because we're limited, right? It's not possible for us, a limited soul, to completely understand God or his energies. It's not possible. But we should just be like that cobbler, and just be appreciating that God is just so great. You know, he's far beyond my capacity to understand him. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's good, that he's so great that a fool like me can't understand him, you know. So that's just part
only
of
understand God from the God's mercy. If we allow them, that's the only way you can understand. Otherwise, there is no other way.
Yeah, but even if he gives his mercy, you're still not going to understand everything about him. You're going to understand what you need to know, know. It's even said in the scripture, even God himself does not fully understand himself.
Oh, really?
Yep. That's how great he is. And his energies are always expanding. So, I mean, he's not just remaining the same. No. He's always growing, expanding in his powers and opulences and energies and his glories. It says Ananta Sesha, you know, Ananta Sesha, that many-headed serpent, that snake, many-headed Ananta Sesha, that, you know, Lord Vishnu rests on that Ananta Sesha, and you know, so many services that, and it's that Ananta Sesha is an expansion of Balaram. It's an expansion of Balaram. And Ananta Sesha also becomes the Lord's seat wherever he sits down, his shoes, his umbrella, you know, so many services Ananta Sesha is doing. But it said, even though Ananta Sesha has many heads, and they're eternally glorifying the Lord, they're eternally glorifying the Lord with his thousands of heads, but he never finishes. He never finishes singing the Lord's glories, because it's unlimited. It's unlimited. You can never come to the end of understanding God and glorifying him and everything. We only touching just a fraction of him, you know, just a tiny fraction. If we're lucky.
Some of them they just float on the top and go. They think they are, they're not.
So we're not so proud to think we can know God completely or anything. It's not possible. Even God himself doesn't fully. It's explained that that's why actually Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya, to get more of an understanding about himself, because from his own position he couldn't understand himself, so he needed to take the position of Radharani. He needed to take the position of Radharani, the greatest devotee, to understand Krishna from her perspective.
Yeah, that's right.
He could like I'll give you an example. One thing that Krishna could not understand was why his devotees were so attracted to him. So he needed to take the position of a devotee to see how he was so much attractive. What attracted his devotees to him so much?
It's like you can see the little bug, he attracts to the flame of the candle. Even if he's got burnt, but he cannot stop his attraction. It's just you can see surrounding. By the morning, he died. But he cannot stop his attraction there. That's pretty much the devotee towards the Lord. It's just like, cannot stop, cannot explain. Just have to be with the, you know, with the flame, and then around the flame and dancing there whole night, and he feather get burned, still dancing. At the morning he whole burned, but he cannot stop. So that's pretty much the devotee is. If the true devotee, Shuddha Bhakta, like a Prabhupada, it's no one, even Prabhupada doesn't understand why this love is, but there is something is, you know, he cannot explain in the words or anything. That's what it is, I guess. In ecstasy, people dance and cry and goosebumps, and then they don't even know why is that happening, because they're not the doing, they're not the doer, like someone else, like up there. He's the one running that, and how these things nobody will understand. But it happens. You can see the people, I remember you give it a one-day class in Bhakti Tree and you were crying. You're all teary-eyed there. You don't know why, but it's happened. So whenever you close to Krishna, it's because he's very, like, the heat of that sun. If you go closer to that, it just something will happen.
You melt.
Definitely,
Yes.
you will.
Yeah, one of the great acharyas, Jiva Goswami, said that unless one can accept that God has inconceivable energies, one will not be able to become, Krishna conscious. Yes. So that means we accept that there's going to be many things we're not going to fully understand. We're not going to fully comprehend everything. And we accept that. If you can't accept that, then you'll just lose faith. Yeah. You'll give up and, I don't understand this, and go away like that. But a devotee is not like that. We accept, that God's unlimited and we're limited. How can something limited understand something unlimited? It's not, or it would just blow all of our brain cells. We can't.
If you think you understand that moment, make sure you understand nothing. If you think you understand nothing, you maybe understand something.
Yeah, because then we're humble. So if we have that humble state of mind, then, like you said, Krishna's pleased. He'll be merciful to us and enlighten us.
The journey home, Radha Maharaj to one of my customer in the car.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, because I was saying that
he gave a journey home to one of his customers in the taxi.
Not the material copy, but he's got on the Kindle on the phone. I said you can download that. This is. He said, okay, yeah, I'm gonna download it. This is it. And I was just all journey. I was just telling about that. When he didn't get the visa into India, and then he said that I left it all that the comfortable life in Chicago and coming to your country to see the sage and swamis and guru. And believe me, if you give me the visa today, I'll do something good for you people. So, he left everything behind. He's from America. He could have to live in a wonderful life, but he came all that left behind and then coming here. So he said, really? Who's that? I said, his name is Richard Salvin, and his new name is Radhanath Swami. His a journey home. The book is that. And then I show him, I've got an audible as well. So I put on the phone and he was listening and he said, I want to download now. I said, okay. Listen to that. But you maybe not see me again for a few months because we do different times and different trips and all that. But you will remember this, like, this will be life-changing day when you will read this book.
Nice, very nice.
Okay, so yeah, it's just good actually. It's a truth. Every single word in that book is just the truth, but nothing than the truth. So it's beautiful there.
Nice.
Anyway, my sister, she read in Hindi because her English is not very good. Yeah. And then I gave her the copy in Hindi. And she's read in Hindi. She said, really? Is there something happen like that? I said, yes. You go to the temple and you'll say he's and you can go down and you can have, his blessings. Blessing is very important. If he put the hand on your head there, that's it.
Yes.
It's job's done. That's it. Job's done, right?
Yeah. Okay, so the next answer Krishna gives,
his eternal nature is called.
It's because Arjuna's question was, what is the self, was the second question. So what is Brahman? That was the first one. So that's the eternal soul, which is indestructible. And what is the self? And Krishna's answer is that's his eternal nature. His eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Okay. So, and then the third question was Arjuna's asking about what's karma, fruit of activities. So Krishna's answer is that action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entity is called karma, or fruit of activities. So yeah, karma is what is the cause of us getting our next body. Because we do some activity, along with that activity comes a reaction. And part of that reaction is what causes us to get a next body.
It's a Newton's third law. Every action equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah. So the reaction is that you have to get another body.
Then my question is that if you come to this earth, you definitely will do some karma, whether pious or not pious, sinful, or it's sinful or anything. And according to that, you'll get the body. And then next body, do some karma, then you'll get a next. Then you'll get a next. So if you come to this planet, you'll do some karma, and according to that, you'll get the. So when the cycle will finish, birth and death?
The cycle finishes when, because karma means fruit of action, means that you're doing the action. Why? Because you want the fruit, you want the result, you want to enjoy the result, right? So what gets us out is you do the action, and which gets a fruit, a result. Result means fruit, phala. So that's the fruit, the result. Then you give it to Krishna. Then that breaks the cycle. Okay. Because normally what we do the action, get the fruit, and we eat it. But now you do the action, you get the fruit, and you give it to Krishna. Then you're out of the cycle, because you didn't do the action for your enjoyment of the fruit. You wanted Krishna to enjoy the fruit. So that is called akarma. Akarma.
Karma, vikarma, and karma.
Yeah. Karma, vikarma, and akarma. So karma means you do good actions, which are good reactions, but that's another birth. You have to go to heaven and so forth. And vikarma means sinful actions, going against the scriptures, like meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling. It means you go down to a hellish place, take birth in lower species. So both of them, karma and vikarma, you go up and down, up and down, up and down. And then akarma, you do anything, but you do it for Krishna. That's akarma. So that's non-reactive work. It means you did it for Krishna, not for yourself. So the reaction goes to Krishna. But of course, Krishna doesn't get any reactions, because everything belongs to him. It's all his energy. So he doesn't get any reaction. Like, Arjuna on the Battle of Kurukshetra, he killed millions.
Yeah. But
normally that would be millions of reactions. But the only difference is Krishna told him to do it. So that's akarma. So Arjuna didn't get one reaction from that. Although he killed millions of people, but he didn't get even one reaction. I mean, the reaction was that you go back to Godhead. So it means no material reaction, it's a spiritual reaction. But that's the secret. But karma, when it talks about karma here, that means you're doing it to enjoy the fruit yourself. You want to enjoy the fruit. You do the work, you get the money, and you enjoy that money. Go to the pub, go to the club, go to the casino, blah, blah, blah. But you do the work, you get the money, and you give it to Krishna, then there's no reaction like that. So that's the thing. It's the same work, same fruit, but who's going to enjoy the fruit? That's the question. If you enjoy it, or you give it to your wife to enjoy, or your kids to enjoy, then there's going to be a reaction. The only way out, you get the fruit, you give it to Krishna, and then there's no reaction. Then you don't get another body. You don't get another body.
So that the people in the temple, they will got no body. Next life they will be God, because they do activity in the temple just for Krishna. So
yeah, if that's the motivation, the motivation.
That they lived in the temple for like Kalya Prabhu for how many years? And that Jayashri and Sri Kari Mataji, and they're all doing just for Krishna. So definitely no birth after that.
Yes, that's the idea. That's the principle. Yeah. Yeah. And Prabhupada said that on different occasions. He said, my motto, my whole life is everything for Krishna, nothing for me. So, I mean, that is like the sum and substance of the Hare Krishna movement. What, you know, as a follower of Prabhupada, what we're aspiring for, what's our goal, is to be like that, you know, everything for Krishna, nothing for me. So that means it's a karma, you know, it's no reaction like that. And people might question, I mean, how the hell can you live like that? Well, you know, everything for Krishna, nothing for you. How are you gonna live? I mean, what, you got no food and no money and no house and no clothes? And no, it's not like that. So it means like, you know, a devotee is giving all the food to Krishna, but then after Krishna eats it, then he leaves it for us to eat. You know, so it's not like we don't have anything to eat. Actually, one problem we have in ISKCON is that we generally eat too much. There's just so much prasadam there, you know. So it's not that you lose by giving to Krishna, you know, or, oh, you're not going to make a house for yourself. You make a house for Krishna, but then, well, you know, it's Krishna's house, but you got to be in the house to serve Krishna. You know, you're like Krishna's butler, Krishna's maid in his house. The only difference is that it's Krishna's house, not your house. But you're still living in the house. It's not like you have to live on the street or something. No, but you just see it as not my house. It's Krishna's house. You know, so, and you dress yourself to please Krishna. Like the gopis, right? It said the gopis dressed themselves very beautifully with saris and ornaments and everything, but not to please themselves. They dress themselves very beautifully to please Krishna. So everything's there. It's not that, well, everything for Krishna, my motto is everything for Krishna, nothing for myself. Then you don't have anything. It doesn't mean that. But it just means that, you know, Krishna is number one, you know, he's first. And you get everything after Krishna enjoys it like that. So he's the central point. That's the only thing. So the only difference is that, you know, in Krishna consciousness, Krishna is the central point. And in material consciousness, I'm the central point. That's the difference, you know. But everything's there. You know, money is there and people are there and houses and clothes and possessions and everything's there. The only thing different is that Krishna's number one, you know, he's first. Like it
Krishna
said
in the
that
center, everything will be in place. If the Krishna in the center, everything will be in place. If Krishna out of that center, you think it's in the place, but it's not.
Yeah. Another example is that everything in the material world is like a zero. Your house is a zero, your car is a zero, the money is a zero, your body is zero, the family is a zero, everything. So if you've got 100 zeros, how much does that equal?
Zero.
Okay. And Krishna is one. So if you put one in front of 100 zeros, how much is that?
Millions. That's right.
You can't count it. You can't add it up. Hey, we've reached an hour. Do you want to sign out and sign back in?
Yeah. Oh, no, actually, at the moment, it's okay.
Okay, but I just saw your picture freeze for a second or two.
Okay, then you do it.
Okay. Yeah.